And it looks like we are live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Home Built Workshop. Welcome to Wednesday Live. What's going on? How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's day is so far going good. As we get things kind of situated here, give everybody a minute to get tuned in. I got to bring up the preview live here so I can keep an eye on everything. Turn that down. Right on. Let's see here. We're getting everything situated. See what we got. There we go. There we go. All right. There's that. And the live is coming up. Come on. I'll be with you in a moment. We're getting settled in. Got to settle in for the long haul. There we go. All right. Oh, my phone mount thingy is all out of whack because I used it over the weekend. Okay, there's that. I don't know why that won't come up ahead of time and automatically go live, at least unless I'm clicking something weird. Anyway, what's going on, everyone? Sorry if you can hear a little bit of noise. The propane delivery truck just pulled in and he's refilling the propane. So hopefully that's not too loud. Alrighty, let's see. Sam's here. Sam says hello. Good morning. Good afternoon, Sam. How's your day going? Robert's here. Robert says, howdy people. Hope all are well, safe, and happy. We are, Robert. We're all of those things. And I don't even have a beanie on because it's warm today-ish. Warm-ish. Like 60. Harry Dude's here. Harry Dude, what's up? What's going on, Harry Dude? How's that unpacking and organizing and moving and all that stuff going? Sam says, Jeff's just making a $4 coffee. No way, my friend. I got this coffee. It's already made. Right on. Jimmer says, hurry up. I know. It's so unprofessional. Those newbies, I'm telling you. What's going on, man? How's everything going in your neck of the woods? Sam says, very good. Thank you, Jeff. Right on, right on. Robert says, I did watch a little bit of the live stream from the guitar show, but not a lot. Not a problem. Yeah, so I guess we'll just jump right into that here in a minute. And yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the guitar show. And we got some Q&A stuff, and we'll just kind of start talking about what we usually do. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about the guitar show. Well, first off, let's back up a day. So the video that I put out on Saturday, man, I almost forgot what that is now. Which one was that? Oh, yeah. Why can't I think about that? Anyway, Poor Conservative's here. I'm gonna come back to that. Poor Conservative, what's going on? Poor Conservative says Bosley called about sponsoring your booth next year at the guitar show. Isn't that the hair, guys? Yeah, you were cracking me up. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, for some reason I can't even. My brain is drawing a blank at the moment. Hold on. We're gonna get this squared away. There's been a lot of stuff going on since since Saturday, and my brain has been fried with all the activity, and my voice was pretty well gone for Monday. And yeah, it was pretty wild. Yeah, so we had the video come out on Saturday, which was the day before the guitar show, and that one, yeah, that's right. The sandpaper box. That's right. Why couldn't I think of that? I don't know why. But yeah, we had the video for the sandpaper box came out, and that's been doing really good. Hope you guys all got a chance to check it out. If you haven't, go check it out once we're done hanging out here. Again, that's something I should have done years ago. That's been a great project that obviously I've already sort of forgotten about due to the events that happened the following day, which was on Sunday, the 2025 Colorado Guitar Show and Luthier's Expo, which was an amazing day. That was awesome. It's always fun. We got up there and got everything set up, and I was able to get the live stream set up, although it didn't go very smooth and the audio was terrible, but it was kind of cool just having the camera running, and several of you I saw stop in for a little while, and that was awesome. I didn't expect anybody to just sit there for the 4 or 5 hours or whatever and and watch the whole thing, but yeah, it was me and my friend Mark, who are both, as Poor Conservative said, follically challenged. Yeah, so there was a lot of glaring going on in the camera, like there is right now. we got some glare, but that's fine. Sam says, did you get paid? Yes, I sold the cigar box guitar, and I sold another guitar that I had with me, so we came back with less than we went up there with, which is always good. It's always a good thing, right? That's the goal. Terry's here. Terry says, hello, Jeff and all. What's going on, Terry? How are you doing this morning? Right on. Poor Conservative says, sorry, bald guy making bald guy jokes. It's all good. It's all good, man. Poor Conservative says, love you, buddy. Got to go. Physical therapy in a few. Right on, my friend. That physical therapy. Right on. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for making me laugh during the show. That was awesome. Oh, let's see. Jimmer says, sandpaper. Just watched it. Yes, sandpaper. You need one. If you don't have something like this, you need one. Even for, you could even do something similar for the discs, sandpaper discs. And I might think about that. Have to be a lot taller because I like to buy them in a big stack, but definitely really, man, what a difference. Harry Dude says, still unpacking and setting up. So over it. I can bet. I can bet. I bet. Or that was a combination of I bet and I can imagine. I can bet. Robert says, did mow the yard last Friday. Waited a couple days and did the trim mowing in the backyard inside the fence. Right on. Right on. That's really Dave. Sup all? What's up, Dave? Jimmer says, I do need one. Yeah. So we'll go back to the guitar show for a minute. What a cool day. It was in a totally different location this year than it was in the past, so I wasn't really sure what we were going to run into when we got up there. But yeah, it just turned out so cool. And another thing that was pretty neat, there was a guy from my town, the town I live. Well, I don't literally live in a town, but the area that I live in was there as well. And I'd never met the guy before. He does finishes and stuff like that. So I'm gonna be connecting with him and kind of checking out some of his products and see what's going on. It's just such a cool time to be able to meet others that do the same thing that you do, or at least are in the same sort of genre, and just what a fun time. And I met quite a few people. Many of you came out and said, hey, I watch your stuff on YouTube or something like that, and it's so awesome just to meet everybody and just hanging out and talking about music and stuff. I had several friends that came up to visit, and it was just awesome. And seeing people playing my instruments and getting feedback and stuff like that, what a cool time. So I got a bunch of footage. I actually got the video. I'm doing a video kind of about Guitar Show Week, some of the prep work I needed to do leading up to the guitar show, and then kind of covering what I can of the show itself. Finished editing that yesterday. It's all ready. It's all scheduled. That's going to be coming out this weekend, Saturday morning. That video will be dropping on the channel. If you're not, for some wild reason, subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button then so you don't miss the guitar show video when it comes out. Let's see. Jim says, I need one for sandpaper discs too, and the flap discs, and cutting discs, and grinding wheels. You know what I do for stuff like that? I don't know if I can show you this or not. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but we can try. I'm going to try to use the AI on, or the tracking on this camera, and we'll see if it'll follow me around. Oh, you might not. I didn't use the wireless mic, but let's see what happens. We're gonna experiment, just 'cause I gotta know, right? where are we at? You can't really see, but up, where's my hand? Right there is flap discs. And then I've got, man, everything's backwards for me. I got flap discs, and then right behind that spray bottle is like cutting discs. And then there's like some more grinding wheels. And what those are, they're just on like wooden shaker pegs. I just have a board up there with shaker pegs in it. And then the shaker pegs that I have, at least, grinding discs and flap discs will fit right over it. And that's what I do to kind of keep things stored and organized. And so far it's been working pretty good. It's not super elaborate or anything, but I don't really think it needs to be. So that's what I do. Maybe an idea. Maybe it'll give you an idea. Take a dowel or something and just glue it in a board. Sam says, I've fully charged up the Acer power station. They work very well and worth getting for emergencies. Mine has 3 230 outlets, multiple USBs, and a cigarette lighter outlet. Right on. Very cool. Very cool. Tanmay says, hello there. What's going on? Tanmay, how are you doing? That's really Dave. Says about how many guitar music vendors. I saw it was a mixed show. Yes. So one thing they do, Dave, is it is a mixed show. There's basically 4 different shows all under this one roof. So the room was sort of divided, or the building, the area we were in was divided into 2 sections. So the first section, when you first walk into the building, was what they call the Vintage Voltage Show, which is all about vintage radios, tube, the old school tube radios and stuff like that. There was also another one there that was, honestly, I don't remember what the second one was, but it was kind of around that radio kind of vibe. I did not even get a chance to check out that side of the place other than walking through, because I just didn't have time, which is kind of a drag. I wish I had maybe an hour or so to just browse the whole place. But then on our side, we had the guitar show, and then the rest of the building was like a vintage toy show, which kind of seems like a weird mix, but I think by having them all together, it does bring in a lot of people. So maybe that's why they do it. But yeah, so 4 different ones. As far as the guitar vendors go, man, I should have saved my seating or my table layout. But there was probably, 50 to 75 vendors, maybe. That's just a guess in the guitar section. I'm trying to count. Yeah, maybe 65 to 75. That's just a rough guess. But there was a fair few. When we first got there, I sort of felt like maybe it was a lot smaller. I think it was because of the layout, but more so because the rest of the room was so massive. This place is huge. I don't know how many square feet the whole building is, but it was so big that for unloading and loading, you were able to drive up this big ramp, drive through the building right to your booth space, load your stuff or unload your stuff, and then drive out. Now, when we got there, we didn't drive in to unload. We just kind of made several trips carrying stuff, played the pack mule thing. But when we were done, we did decide to drive in because, that was kind of cool. So we drove in the building, and wound through, all the stuff, parked by our booth, loaded everything up, and it's just huge. It's nothing like, a little hotel lobby kind of thing or something like that, which is where they've had these in the past. This place was giant. So I feel like once everything got there and everybody got set up, I kind of don't think it was smaller than last year. Yeah, just the building was so big. It was wild. Let's see. So yeah, Dave, it was a mixed show, but I think there was quite a few people. I don't know. One thing with it being a mixed show is you get a mixed crowd. You get people that are there for one area, but if then of course they're browsing the rest of the show. You get people that are there for the guitars and end up browsing the rest of the show, and it's just you get all kinds of the crowd is so varied. I had to look out the window because, as a side note, something that hopefully is exciting, right this instant they're running fiber optic cable in front of the house. They're out there trenching it in right now, and I was hoping I was going to talk to the guy while they're running by, so I don't know how far they'll be once we're done here, but yeah, right now as we speak I can hear the dozer out there trenching in the fiber. Hopefully that means we can get some good internet here at the house. I don't know how I get a hold of it, but yeah. Let's see. Tanmay says, I changed my display picture. Hope you remember me. Oh, of course I do. Yeah, of course I do. How's everything been going? Sam says, I changed the display picture. Hope you still... Oh, no. I'm getting them mixed up. It scrolled right as I went to read that. Sam says, power station can be charged on mains, solar, or vehicle lighter outlet. Right on. Time surfing. Right on. Time surfing's here. Says, never fear. I'm here in the flesh. What's going on? Mike says, good morning, Jeff and others. What's going on? Mike Johnson in the house. Welcome. Saw you on Sunday too. Not in person, but digitally. Jimmer says, I got all the grinder stuff in an old thermostat storage cabinet. Hold the grinder. Oh, it holds the grinders too. Right on. There you go. Mike says, now I can chat. Not sure why I couldn't at the show. P.S. Your table setup was sharp. Well, thank you, Mike. Yeah, and thanks for stopping in on Sunday. That was cool. You know, kind of just an experimental live stream. Many technical difficulties. Terrible audio, which I didn't realize the audio was as bad as it is until I was watching a little bit of that yesterday. Whew, that was rough. But anyway, we got through it. It was just fun, just having a camera up there. I wish it would have went a little smoother as far as live stream wise, but the laptop kept blacking out. The screen would just go white, like almost like every single connection had disappeared. But every time I checked, the stream was still running, so I don't know what was going on. But finally, I do need to report I have ordered a new laptop. Yes. Yes, I did. This one's going to get replaced finally. So it's time. This one's so old, and just kind of keep piecing it together and keeping it running. Finally, we're going to replace it with one that has much more processing power, and hopefully all the live stream stuff will be much better. But yeah, Mike, it was awesome. I'm glad you could tune in, and thank you for the nice comment on our booth. That was one thing that I definitely try to pay a little bit of attention to with the booth. A lot of guys will use like black tablecloths, and actually I saw a lot more this year that literally used nothing for a tablecloth, just the crusty old folding tables that were there. And I chose to not go, although I do like the look of the black tablecloths that a lot of people use. I chose the red. If you tuned into the show, you saw our booths were covered in red. Red table coverings and all that, because it makes it pop. It makes everything stand out. And yeah, I really, when I was looking at everything, I not to be like, I don't know, it just sounds bad, but I agree with you, Mike. It looked really nice. I thought our booth turned out really well, and you know, it kind of stood out from everything else because of the bright colors, and that's exactly what I wanted. Robert says, yeah, and right over your shoulder we can see how you store your sanding discs up. Yes, next to the ceiling. Yeah, that was a video project a while back. I just have dowels and they slip on there. The reason I'm considering maybe changing from that is because where I order my sanding discs from, which is a place called Super Grit, they're down near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Not sponsored or anything, but I order everything from them. But it seems like the offerings have been changing a little bit. The yellow ones are mostly what I use the most. Those are Mirka sanding discs, and I can't seem to get those 9-hole. No, those are 8-hole discs anymore, and they come in more of a multi. I forget what they call it, a multi-pattern. Here, I can show you. Yeah. This kind of a multi-hole pattern, and it doesn't work with that storage method. So I'm considering switching and doing something different. Man, it sounds like those fiber optic guys have already passed the house. They were up the road when I started, and I didn't know how fast it was going to go. But I now hear the sound, and it sounds like they've just passed the house. I kind of wanted to watch that process, but we should have set up the live stream outside, and then we all could have watched it. That'd have been cool. Anyway, yeah, Robert. So that's how I store them now, but maybe changing due to the fact that the pads that I can get are changing. Sanding pads, discs, I guess rather. Sam says, don't forget to like pizza. Ooh, pizza sounds good. It's totally free. Pizza's not free, Sam. I mean, unless someone gives you it, but I do like pizza. That does sound good. Now I'm hungry for pizza. Dave says, when they trenched in fiber optic, I was getting offers by them and another carrier. Well, hopefully somebody stops and I can talk to somebody, because I want a piece of that fiber optic stuff. Yeah. Sam says you could get a cheap gazebo for the table. Yeah, I have. I have one. It doesn't match the colors. I know what you mean. You'd get a customized one. And if I was outside for something, I probably would. Jimmer says, where are you getting PC parts now? Well, for a long time, I used to get all of the computer parts from Newegg. If you guys are familiar with Newegg.com, not sponsored or anything. And the last computer I built was 4 years ago, I think. And I got probably half the parts from there and another half the parts right from Amazon. I pretty much go to Newegg so that I can spec everything out still. And then I just price shop, and try to find the exact things and see who's got a better price. And that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. To get for the laptop, I just, again, price shop that. I ended up finding the best deal from B&H Photo. You guys familiar with B&H? Like the photography, video, live sound kind of place. B&H is great. They had the best price for the laptop that I wanted. And yeah. I used to get exclusively everything from Newegg because I felt like that they had the best prices. But I don't know if that's the case anymore. And it seems like some of their quality, or not, maybe not quality. I don't know what the word is. It seems like maybe they're not as niche as they used to be. They offer more stuff. I don't know if that makes any sense. I just don't exclusively use them anymore. And now I literally shop for the best price, try to get the best deals. Time Servant says, Alabama is strange. You only get one choice of internet provider. Depends on where you live. Same with electric. That's exactly how it is where I grew up. You had one electric company. You had one phone company. And that phone company, well, they didn't have internet when I lived back there. That wasn't really even a thing. But now you've got the electric company, you got the phone company, and that's who also provides your internet. I mean, unless you go with something like a Starlink or, something like that, or your cell phone kind of thing. But as far as wires coming into your home, yeah, it's exactly the same. Here, I'm in a really weird place where the house is here. So if you go not even a mile over into the housing developments and some of the more residential areas, they got all kinds of internet options. The fiber and DSL and I don't even know what all. Broadband of some, I don't know exactly. The options, you can basically choose whatever you want. Over here, I got like one, maybe two. And none of them are hardwired. And they've been working over the last few months at running all of these different lines down past the house. And I'm waiting for one of those options to come available to us. And as soon as it's available, I'm going to take it, whatever it is. Right now, the internet that I have is similar to a cell signal. 11, 12, 13 miles away, up on a hill, there's a tower, and it sends out the internet signal. And on the side of the house, it has a dish that receives that signal from that tower. And that's how I get my internet. But the range is only 15 miles of that tower. So I'm like near the end of this range. So it's definitely not as strong as what it can be if you're closer. And actually, they've told me before that if I was any farther away, I wouldn't be able to get the service. And it's line of sight, too. So you have to be line of sight with this tower. So anyway, let's see here. Jim says go outside. Yeah, but the camera wouldn't go that far. Mike says, my wife likes red, but had a color consultant help with the house interior. Comment was that red is an angry color. Today, I always laugh about it. Angry color. I mean, yeah, I could see that. But for like the guitar show kind of thing, I like it because when you're scanning around the room and it's black, 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 dreary, crusty, boom, pop a red. Yeah, I like that. Time Servant says, when Cablevision came to my town, I was on the crew installing it. Use a ditch witch. Yeah, there's been a lot of those guys running around too, you know, trenching into like electrical boxes and stuff. This rig that they trench in the fiber cable, you know, it's those big blue and orange tubes. This thing's like on the back of like a, I don't know, D7, D8. I don't know if it's a D8. It might be a D8 dozer. It's a pretty big rig. And on the front, instead of the blade, they got a big rack that holds the giant spools of fiber stuff. And then on the very back is one giant ripper tooth. And so these fiber lines run up. I was studying this thing, if you can't tell. The fiber lines run up in this framework over the roof of the dozer and down into the back and down inside like the back of the ripper tooth, so that as they're going along the side of the road, they just put that ripper tooth down and they're trenching it in as it goes, and it's just feeding that fiber optic tube down into this trench. And then they got a little guy with a, I don't know what they have behind. I didn't get to see it super up close. And but they just close the trench and carry on, and they just roll right up the road. Like I can't even hear them running now. I don't know how far away they are. Hang on, I'm going to look out the window. I'm going to take this off for a second. Oh yeah, they're still right outside the door, or outside. They're like right outside there. There's a little culvert there. It looks like they just went around the culvert. Okay, anyway. Sam says, it's just a quirky way to highlight the like button. Oh, I know. I know, Sam. I like it. I'm not complaining at all. Made me hungry for pizza, though. Mike says, need to get a hand holding for that future fiber connection. Yeah, I need to get it. I need to get it figured out. Mike says, what laptop did you order? I'm looking to buy a Dell. So the one that I have right now, this is probably a 10-year-old Lenovo. And I ordered another Lenovo. I don't know the exact model, but it's, you know, i9, 32 gigs of RAM, 4060 or 4070 GPU. Pretty decent specs as far as I'm concerned. Not quite top-notch, you know, because what's the top-notch GPUs that are out now? Like a 5060, 5070. This has got a 40 series GPU. This one in here is like an 800. So it actually has better specs than my desktop that I have right now. So hopefully it'll last a long time. Lenovo, they seem to be decent. Not sponsored or anything, but that's what we're going with. We're gonna try it out. Robert says, I've built maybe 9 or 10 desktops. As far as laptops, may as well just buy it fully assembled. Yes, I agree, Robert. The desktops, I enjoy putting those together. I like the process of speccing everything out, ordering all the parts, you know, shopping for the best deals. That, like, to me, that's a process, and I enjoy that. But yeah, a laptop, there's zero chance that I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna try to build one. I don't even know if you can. Maybe, I don't know. I just do a bunch of shopping, price comparison, research. I try to find what I feel is the best deal, and as much as I didn't want to buy a new one after the stream on Sunday with the issues that we were having, I just said, you know what, it's time. It's time. If we're gonna keep trying to progress and move these live streams forward, I have to just get a new one, a little more powerful. Jim says, we'll wait. Time Servant says, microwave works on line of sight. Digital waves aren't like radio frequency. Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know what this is. It's not It's not a cellular signal, but it's similar in the idea that it works off a tower and transmits to a receiver on the side of the house. I don't know what it's called, honestly. Harry Dude says, I went with 5G home broadband when I moved into this house. Australian internet is crap compared to the rest of the world. Really? Well, that's a bummer. Jimmer says, still one energy provider. 2 internet providers. So Jimmer's in the same area that I am from originally. So yeah, so there's an update. Robert says, I did most of my computer parts shopping from Newegg. Just bought some new SSD drives because one of my computers died. Yeah, so I don't have a problem with Newegg, but like I said, I just don't use them exclusively. Although, I might do a little shopping on there, or at least some research anyway this afternoon, because I'm getting rid of some old electronics and just cleaning some stuff out around the house. And one of them is an old Dell computer. We used it as a second computer for a while. You know, especially back in the lockdown days when they had to do the school and everything from home. But now the thing is so slow and outdated. I thought about, though, pulling everything out of it and installing a bunch of hard drives and trying to make sort of a server out of it. If I can figure out how to mount some bunch of hard drives in there, I might try that, installing some sort of server software and you know, see if I can build up a thing. Because if I can figure out how to mount these hard drives in there, there's probably room for 8. It's not built to hold 8, but right now I'm on the 3D printer is an adapter, hard drive adapter, supposedly, to where you can take a regular 3.5-inch hard drive and adapt it to the 5 1/4, like your CD drives. So my thought is, if this works, I can just screw all these things in there and install a bunch of drives. I'd have to install a different sort of card to have more ports, but I don't know, I might try to do that. Time Servant says they're taking a coffee break. They might be taking a coffee break. I don't know. Speaking of that. And Paul's here. Paul says, greetings, everyone. Paul, what's going on? Dastardly Dave says, I have a Lenovo. It's close to time for an upgrade. Yeah, this is a Lenovo. This one I actually got from a friend of mine, my buddy Chaos, who's been on here a few times. Also got a YouTube channel. He gave this to me a while back. I think I replaced the hard drive and the screen was all jacked up, but it's been working. I've been using it for a couple years, but it's just not great. So yeah, I got no problem with them. Lenovo. That's why I ordered another one. Jimmer says kind of like a wireless bridge setup, sort of. I don't know how their whole thing works, but it's a giant bridge. It's not a short bridge. It's like 11 or 12 miles away, up on the hill. Paul says, just got a free internet upgrade to 1 gig per second. Works great. Yeah, thanks, Paul. I'm like 20 megabits, maybe. Paul says, keep the old Dell, put Linux on it. That's what I was thinking of, doing something like that. But I want to make a server. I need something for backup. Rather than, like, ultimately I would just drop the cash on a Synology. But they're expensive, so I don't want to do that. So I thought about maybe trying to DIY my own. If these hard drive cages work, then that just might be the ticket. Harry Dude says, Linux will be your friend for building a server. Yeah. The thing I don't like about Linux is I don't know command line stuff. I tried Linux on a computer once. I hate that command line. You got to type stuff to make it do things, and I don't know the commands. It's just not my thing. But I don't know. It will work for what I want to do, though. Robert says, back when I was working as a computer tech, had to disassemble and repair a few laptops. Working on those small components and connections was a pain. Yeah. When I had the screen replaced, I didn't even do that myself. I watched some videos and I could have done it, but we have a local computer tech guy, and I had him do it just because I didn't want to be responsible if I broke something. At least that way, if he broke something, he's responsible. Mike says, agreed, Linux will work well for what you're thinking as a server. I know. I just got to figure out how to install, or how to get all these drives to fit in there. That's the biggest thing, and have enough power. I do have a spare power supply around that I could probably use. It has more ports on it than the one in there. It's not going to be like plug and play for sure, but maybe we'll make a video out of it. I don't know. Would you guys be interested? Would that be interesting to watch? Watch me fumble through and try to make a server out of this old thing? I don't know. Let me know though. Brian, my hermit life says howdy, playing hooky from town hall meeting at work. You're more important. Well, Brian, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm glad you're here. You don't need those town hall meetings anyway. Paul says, get an idiot user version like Ubuntu. Honestly, Paul, that's what I had. And there was still too much command line for me. Heritage says, raid those server drives. Western Digital Red drives are built for servers. Well worth the extra expense. Yeah, I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm throwing it up in the air. I'm trying to figure out if that's what we want to do. But if you guys want to watch that, if you think you would, again, I'm not coming at it from a tech kind of guy, so maybe it would be interesting. I don't know. Time surfing. Linux makes a lot of stuff for the providers. Installed a bunch of their equipment when I built cell towers. Interesting. Paul says they have a couple of external hard drives, the spinny type, that are in external drive pots connected to the machine via USB. Works great that way. Yes, I have a couple of those too. But the problem is, for some reason, I don't know why, right? So I have one of those USB, like a Western Digital type drive, several terabytes, plugged into the USB port on my router, like my main router. That is then shared on the network, my local network, which then I have SyncBack running a backup. That backup utility runs a backup to this drive, but for some reason, it has stopped connecting to that. I can go into the router, mess around with it, basically remove it, reinstall it, and it works again, but then it loses connection. And I'm kind of tired of that because now I'm missing backups and it's not working, and it's very frustrating. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I just build a dedicated server that just is part of the network and all the backups go to that. I don't know. But yes, I have a couple of those, Paul, that just plug in USB, and they work fine. And KK's here. KK says, good evening from Greece. Jeff, I missed you, but now I've caught up with you. I'm glad to see the show, and I hope you're all well. Best wishes to all of you. I was in the EU. Take care, brothers. Right on, my friend. Right on. Hope your time in the EU was good. Hope you're doing great. Right on. Glad you could stop by and tell everyone hello. For me, everyone in Greece, hello for me. There you go. I'm getting tongue-tied there. Mike says, Linux Mint is my go-to. I'll have to check it out. Paul asks, do you have a static IP on the drive or is it dynamic? Honestly, I don't know. It's just shared through the USB port. So my router's got a USB port on the back. However that works, I don't know, honestly. But that's why I'm thinking maybe a computer, because then I can just plug it right in, and then it'll just get its IP right from the router and not just be a USB port. I don't know how that USB stuff works. But I did get a question. A question came in that I want to answer. I want to address on here. Told him I would answer it on the live. And the question came in from Scott. Scott's sometimes in here, but Scott sent me a message. So Scott is questioning, wants to know more information about the carbon fiber rods that I use when I'm building the guitar neck. He says, since they're not adjustable, are they just replacing wood in the neck because it's stiffer? If not, what function do they provide? Which, Scott, first, thanks for sending this to me because I appreciate that. So the carbon fiber rods in a neck, on one aspect, to your point, they're just replacing wood, but they're replacing the wood because they are stiffer than the wood. So when you, oh man, I should have grabbed one. That would have been even more. I'd have been more prepared. But they're like, it's like a 2x4, right? So if the 2x4 is if it's on edge, it's got way more strength than if you put it flat where it can bow and bend. The carbon fiber rods are the same way. So they go in the neck, at least the ones that I use, they're an 1/8 inch wide by, is it 5/16 tall? Something like that. But they go into the neck on edge, and it provides a tremendous amount of strength from bowing and bending. They don't do anything they don't affect the truss rod adjustment, except for the fact that maybe they make it a little bit stiffer to adjust, but overall, it just makes the neck so much more stable. It is unbelievable how stable a neck is when you have a truss rod as well as 2 carbon fiber rods. So yeah, it's just replacing wood and providing all of that strength because it's on edge and it resists that bending force. So the truss rod will allow it to bow and bend, you know, into whatever to get the relief that you need. But overall, it's crazy how much strength they give to a neck. There's different kinds of carbon fiber rods, but I only use the 1/8 inch wide and I think 5/16 tall ones. It just gives it replaces part of that wood, gives it a ton of strength. So anyway, Scott, thanks for the question. I hope that helps. Hope that answers it. And yeah, there you go. Paul says try assigning it a static. I will try that. I don't know how that works with a USB. Sam says, dear YouTube, you desperately need to get advertisement patches for your arm. Oh, I got you, Sam. Robert says, my computer that died has my copy that I bought and paid of the Adobe Creative Suite Illustrator back when you could buy and not lease the programs. Robert, yes, I know what you mean. I have the Adobe Creative Suite, and the one that I'm using right now is CS4. That was one that I bought years ago, like you said, when you could actually own it. And I will remain using that until it literally will not function, which I'm sure will happen at some point. And then I don't know what I'll do, but I cannot stand the Adobe subscription for everything now. I would gladly pay, you know, whatever the price is for the entire Creative Suite to own it, rather than, you know, I would pay $1,000 or whatever, as opposed to, you know, the 30 or 50 or 80 or $100 a month, whatever it is. It makes me mad. Paul says, anything on a network that you need permanent, assign it a static IP. That way, if the software uses a static, it won't disconnect if the device reboots or loses connection. I know what you mean, Paul. I just don't know how to do that. I'm gonna have to do a little experimenting. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know how that works with a USB, but that's why I'm thinking of doing that for the server if I build a server. If this hard drive tray thingy works. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's some of that, like I'm fairly confident in, you know, going in and doing things in the network and all that sort of stuff, but there's a couple things that I don't mess with much because I don't know a whole lot about. But yeah, that's one thing that's driving me nuts with this hard drive deal. It won't stay connected for some reason. Mike says, I use CS 5.5, last one before subscription. Yeah, oh. Robert says, I think mine was CS6. I think it might be, Mike. CS6 sounds familiar. And I feel like I almost bought CS6 when I heard they were going to the subscription. I don't remember why I didn't. I mean, there's a lot of cool features. I think new updates and developments in the newer stuff. But I do not like the subscription. I don't like anything for a subscription. Mike says, oh yeah, maybe CS6. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. On another note, look what I got. I got like more first aid stuff. Remember we talked about that? The stuff I ordered came in. There's all sorts of stuff in there. Lots more stuff. Now I feel like way more prepared. We even got a tourniquet, and I practiced with it yesterday, although not fully because I don't need to crank my arm off or something. But yeah, that stuff came in yesterday. I got the video done for that as well. That's going to be not this weekend. This weekend will be the guitar show video, but the safety kind of stuff will be the following weekend. Talking about some safety stuff. Some things I feel like you should have in the shop in the event of an emergency. So that's the plan for videos. Stuff that's coming up, I don't know. We got a bunch of stuff that I'm thinking of. Remember a while back, my friend Jimmer sent me some hand planes and stuff. I kind of want to get this one up and running. Needs a new tote. Probably need to take this stuff off, clean up the metal parts, work on the blade. The blade needs definitely, or the iron, as I guess I should call it, needs some work. But this is making its way closer to the top of the list. But it does need a new tote, so we're gonna have to rebuild one of those. So that's gonna be at some point something I'm getting done. I also have I got some plastic here because I got a project that I was hoping to have done for the guitar show, but I did not get it done. I've mentioned a couple times that there's some tools, measuring setup tools that I want to make. I got some plastic for it, so I want to start working on that. I was hoping to have this done. You'll see what it is when I get it done. But I'm trying to somewhat leave the cat in the bag, because at least until I can produce them. So, but we got to do some laser work and some file setup and stuff like that. So that's gonna be something I'm working on. And then the other thing, what was the other thing? Oh, maybe the server. That's what I'm saying. So if you guys would be interested, and you think, you know, that you might want to watch little old me try to build a server, let me know, because I wasn't thinking about it as a video, but maybe, I don't know, if you think you'd find it interesting. I know it's interesting to me if we can pull it off. Mike says, no rum? Rum? What are we rumming? No rum. You lost me, Mike. I must have said something, but no rum. I don't know what you're getting at, Mike. I'm sorry. Not a fan of rum. No, I don't need that. Rum in my coffee? Is that what you're talking about, maybe? I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited to, well, for a lot of stuff. I'm excited that, you know, that we were at the guitar show. I get pumped up being up there, just meeting and talking with everybody. Got some pretty neat footage. You know, of people playing some of the guitars. You know, I just get fired up when I come back, and it's just a good, I don't know, I just feel good. That's all I can say. But I got all these other projects that I want to get to. I'm excited to get the new laptop, kind of see what we can do to improve the streams from here. Hopefully it'll be a lot more, I can run it at a higher frame rate and stuff, so the quality will be better. Just all kinds of stuff. I'm just excited about things in general. Oh, Mike says, in the safety kit. That's a good idea. One of those little like shooter bottles that you see. Put one of them in there just in case. That's a good idea. Sam says, YouTube's broken. Says you've been streaming for 16 minutes for ages. Well, that's weird. Let's see. What's my preview say? It doesn't say. Heritage says, no audio issues with the stream this week. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, because it's on the same setting, right? The same setting as last time. Yeah, the setting is exactly the same. I'm using the same microphone. I'm using the same camera, and nothing has changed. I didn't like switch anything around. We're on the same offset setting, 600 milliseconds ahead. I think or does that delay it? Is that a delay? I think it's ahead. It puts the audio ahead, which matches it up with the video. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, everything's good. Another thing that I'm excited about. Like, things are just sort of working today, which is awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, so, and then hopefully once we get the new laptop, that'll help even more. I may have to do some more adjustments. And the downside is, like, it's neat when you get a new computer or something like that. But what I find it to be frustrating as well, because I got to spend all that time transferring, getting whatever programs installed that you need installed, and getting your account set up and logins and passwords. That part of it I don't enjoy, but it will be pretty cool. So yeah, and then same thing as if I build this server, which after talking with all of you, I think I will. I think I'll do that. I think I'll make that a project. Just getting everything set up, because as far as that stuff goes, IPs and all that sort of thing, I'm not an expert on that. But I think it would be cool, just getting everything configured. I think in the long run, it'll work better than my USB backup thing that I got now. And yeah, just gives me lots of options, especially if you can put a boatload of drives in there. Jimmer says, keg like those on the St. Bernards and cartoons. Yeah, that'd be cool. The like rum keg or whatever. Yeah. Sam Packins here says, just joined in the video. Audio is great. Oh, and hello, everyone. Well, Rick, good morning. What's going on? How are you doing? How's things in your neck of the woods? It's getting warm here. As you can tell, look at this. I got no beanie on today. Sam says, my laptop's not working properly. She's refusing to dance. Oh, TMI, Sam. Too much information there, buddy. Robert says, I'm a bit concerned about the computer I'm using for the streams. I have 4 hard drives set up as a RAID, and I got a warning that 1 or more of the drives has failed. Yikes. Yeah, you might have to slap a new drive in there. Wow. Mike says, hopefully your CS4 will work under Windows 11. Oh, that's a good point, Mike. I don't know if I will put it on the laptop. I run it on the desktop, and the desktop, of course, right now is Windows 10. But eventually that's going to need to be replaced, so you make a valid point. That's what I'm saying. I know at some point CS4 is not going to work. But maybe Windows 11 has a compatibility mode, and then I can just keep running it. I don't know how long it's going to work, but I still have the disks and everything, and I'm going to try as long as it'll absolutely run. We'll be on Windows like 27, in like 60 years. And I'll be running this old antique CS4. Yeah, that's a good point, Mike. I don't know. The new laptop's Windows 11. I don't have any Windows 11 machines. So we'll see how that works. I've heard Windows 11 is decent, but I've never personally used it. I'm usually like one of the last adopters for things. Rick says he noticed that right away. Yeah, it's nice. It was like 40-something degrees, 48 degrees this morning. It's pretty decent. Robert says if you don't want to use the Microsoft Office stuff, you can download and install the OpenOffice suite for free. Yeah. I do not. That's another thing that they've moved to subscription, and I'm really upset about, because almost all of my documents are Word or Excel, and I've been switching them over to like Google because I don't have Word anymore. Like it just all of a sudden stopped working, and in order to make it work again, I got to pay. I'm not doing it, so they can keep it. Although I really like Word and Excel, mainly because I've used it for pretty much my entire computer using life. It's what I know and am very comfortable with, but I'm not paying for it. I refuse. I am not their target audience, let's just say. I want to have it, but I don't want to pay for it. I'm just weird like that, but I don't know. Harry Dude says, I used OpenOffice for years, have moved to Libre, whatever that is, Office, Libre. Yeah. Better XLS and document support. Interesting. I'm going to have to check it out. I've just been using Google Docs and Google Sheets. I actually got that from my daughter. They use a lot of that stuff, like for school things, and she's like super good with those Google applications. And so I just started trying them out. And you can import your Word documents into there, and it does a pretty good job of converting them. So that's what I've been using. I'm not up to speed. I'm not super familiar with using all of the functions yet. I mean, it's pretty similar. It's a spreadsheet thing and all that. But yeah, she got me into those. She's a whiz. So if I have hey, how do I change this color to this? And she's like, oh, you just click, 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 and there you go. So that's what I've been using. Jimmer says, I hate the subscription. I do too, man. It's the worst. One of my goals, we're a little bit of steering off topic, but that's what's fun, right? One of my goals is to keep, I guess you call it, I don't know if it's a goal, or I try to keep monthly expenses low, right? Try to keep them as low as possible, and really for the most part, I think probably everybody does. But subscription is one of the things that I don't mess with if I don't have to, because if I all of a sudden signed up for the Adobe Suite subscription, and then the Microsoft Word and Office subscription, and then some sort of video editing software subscription, and then like the subscriptions for the 36 different streaming applications, all of that stuff, I mean, you're at hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month. You know, on the Amazon subscription, I don't do any of those. We have maybe one streaming service, I think. But other than that, I don't do any of them. I don't do Prime. None of that. Just because I don't like that subscription model. I totally understand why the companies do it, right? I get it based on the company's point of view. But as the customer, no, I don't. And I don't do it. Rick says, I know this isn't the Weather Channel, but it's nice here on southern Vancouver Island. It's not the Weather Channel, Rick, but I'd like to know how everybody's doing. It's nice here. It's supposed to be a nice day. I think we're supposed to have a few nice days here later this week. Maybe it's this weekend. We're supposed to be back down to like 30 degrees with potential snow. Robert says, trying to find some sort of setting in Windows 11. Oh, some of the settings in Windows 11 is a bit tricky. Open Office Suite can be set to open the Microsoft Office files. Interesting. Oh, Rick got a commercial. Sam says, don't forget to get the MiFi hotspot. It'll give you some mobile internet access. Sam, thank you for bringing that up. That was one of the other issues that I had when I was at the guitar show. One was the laptop, right? The laptop kept freezing up and was being very slow trying to do what it was trying to do. I kept getting memory warning, low memory warnings and all that stuff. The internet issue was a whole nother thing, right? So I asked right away if there was Wi-Fi or internet of some sort. So eventually they were able to get me the Wi-Fi information, and I got signed into the Wi-Fi. Well, the problem arose when I went to sign into my email, and of course, I got the notification, hey, you're signing in from a different location, security, oops. I just triggered the camera to stop tracking me. So I had a bunch of sign-in security issues that popped up. So what I ended up doing was leaving from their Wi-Fi and going to the hotspot on my phone. But by then, I'd already sort of messed up some of the logins. So then I had to go back and fix all the logins as I was trying to log into everything because it knows my Wi-Fi or my hotspot. So then I was able to finally get logged in, but the service inside the building was not great. So yeah, I need to find something that I could potentially use for, like you said, Sam, a mobile Wi-Fi kind of thing. Because if I'd had a better internet connection, it would have been a lot better, I think. But yeah, so thanks for the reminder. Sam, oh yeah, I almost read your comment again. Jimmer says, new PCs don't have disk drives, and a lot of my stuff is on CD. Old websites that are no longer and stuff. Oh, Jim, that's a good point. Yeah, well, see, that's an advantage of when I build a desktop PC, which is where I run like my Adobe and stuff like that. I'll put a disk drive in there. But the laptop, this laptop doesn't have a CD drive. The new one that's going to be coming doesn't have a CD drive. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let's see. Paul says, gonna almost be in Colorado next week. Going to Dalhart, Texas on Monday. Skull Saber says, Dalhart, Texas smells like dog food. Really? So that was one of the funny things at the guitar show. Apparently it's right next to a dog food plant. So it smelled like dog food right there. Like they had the doors, or a couple of doors were open, so you'd get a whiff of dog food every once in a while. That was kind of interesting. Robert, one of the downsides of the software subscriptions, just trying to keep up with the changes and differences in the software every time they do updates. That's another one. Yeah. Updates all the time. Yeah, trying to keep up. They add features, remove Fusion updates a lot. And I'm still, as of right now, knock on wood, still on the free version of that. And yeah, they still update and things change and displays change. And Paul says I keep an external DVD USB drive that goes between my PCs and Macs as needed. Yeah, that's a good idea too. Yep, I have a CD drive in my current desktop tower. I think I've used it really only when I built the computer and I installed programs and things that are on drives or on disks. It's about the only time I've used it. Like all my music is on the computer or streamed, from the internet. Yeah, you just don't use those things, but it is handy for installing stuff. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So, but anyway, yeah. So Paul, you're going to be up in Dalhart. I don't know how close to Colorado that is, honestly, but it's probably pretty close. If it's up, what is that? The Panhandle? Is that what they call that, or is that the other side? I don't know. Rick says, I know you probably mentioned all about it, but was the guitar show a success? It was. It was, Rick. Yeah, we came back with less than we went there with. So that's always a good thing. And yeah, just met a lot of great people, hung out with a lot of cool people, saw a lot of neat instruments, and I'm happy to report, you'll find out in the video, but you guys, since you're awesome and here on the live, you'll get the inside scoop. Two more lefties were there. I always bring a left-handed guitar, and a lot of times I feel like, okay, I'm going to be the only one there with a lefty. There was one lefty bass, but none of these were handmade, so that's kind of unfortunate. But there was one lefty bass, a Spectre bass, actually pretty nice. And then there was a lefty Strat, actual Fender Strat, that was unfortunately was set up as a righty, flipped over so someone could do the Jimi Hendrix kind of thing or something. But without much work, you'd flip it back and it would actually be a lefty. So yeah, two other lefties. Unfortunately, I saw 0 handmade lefties. I don't know why. That's unfortunate. If you build guitars, you got to at least, if you're going to a guitar show, bring a lefty. I'm not saying you're going to sell the lefty, but you got to cater to the lefties. But anyway, I had a lefty, handmade, and then there was 2 other ones there. So, but other than that, Rick, yeah, it was great. It was so fun. Just a fun day. My friend Mark was there hanging out, and we always have fun goofing around. Anyways, 2 bald guys there at the at the booth. It was a good day. A Hair Dude says, I hate subscriptions because I don't use the same software every month. Music software can be bad for it. Plugins, I go through periods when I don't use them. Yeah, you don't use them all the time. I know exactly what you mean. Subscription plugins, I don't even own a subscription plugin. Like some of the ones from Waves, I think you can do. I have quite a few Waves plugins for different things, but they're not subscription or anything. But yeah, it's just subscription's terrible. Robert says, I think you can still get external drives to work with the existing software. Yeah, you can. Paul says, Dalhart to Colorado Springs, 228 miles. 200 miles? That's nothing. That's like not even a tank of gas. Really? Paul says, so someone left a bass and a Strat at the show? No, they're left-handed. A left-handed bass and a left-handed Strat. Sam says, what are some type of tools or power tools have different names between the States and UK? Oh, what same type of tools? Oh, I know there's some. I can't think of some of them now. Is that like the French fries versus chips? They're chips for you and French fries for us. I can't think of some of the tools. Rick says, unfortunate, but good for you. Yes, it is. It is. It is good. Like I know there will at least always be one lefty there. Jimmer says, you had the market cornered for handmade lefties. Yes, I did, but I didn't sell it. That's the problem, right? That's why most people don't, because there's just not as many lefties, and especially not as many lefties that are going to buy a handmade guitar. So, Yeah, I understand why they don't, but I just like to challenge everyone. We've talked about this more than once, and like I totally get it. Robert says, if you're lucky and need one, you might still be able to get an external floppy drive. Wow, could you imagine like the 5 1/4 floppy drives, like all the that'd be kind of interesting. Paul says probably only the aluminium ones. Sam slap. Harry Dude says Sawzall. So the Sawzall that's what I call it, right? The reciprocating saw. Reciprocating saw. Like the first one that I'm aware of that came out was a Sawzall, the Milwaukee Sawzall. And at least the first one that I'm aware of that I ever used that was ever even popular at the time, the Sawzall. And we just started calling it a Sawzall because Milwaukee was the only one. And now that there's, everybody makes them, that same Sawzall name has been referred to becoming the generic term for that reciprocating saw. Kind of like there's a couple other ones too I'm trying to think of. I can't think of them now. Oh yeah, Harry Dude, skill saw. Yeah, the circular saw. Yep. And I know there's other things too, not just tools related. And I'm trying to look around. That's actually the brand name that we've just adopted as the actual term for it. Skull Saber says, I've had to use an external USB 3-inch floppy drive for work in the last 2 years. Really? That's pretty cool. Rick says, drill press in England is called a pillar drill. Yeah, I was thinking of that. The pillar, it's on a pillar. The pillar drill, and it's a drill press here. Yeah. I'm trying to think of I'm trying to look around and spot if there's other stuff. Anything that sparks my brain, but nothing at the moment. Jimmer says you can get the externals, but sometimes the connector or driver is also no longer supported. Then have to buy a new external drive, just as bad as subscription. True. Harry Dude. Oh, you got it. Xerox. Yes, I'm going to Xerox this. I remember that was super popular. I don't say that as much anymore. I've not heard that in a while, but yeah, that was the thing for quite a long time. Just Xerox it. Jimmer, Vice Grip, yes. Yeah, grab a Vice Grip. It doesn't matter the brand, it's called a Vice Grip. Sam says some of the UK nickname the hammer as a thinking tool. Robert says, I have one of the 3.5 floppy external plugs into a USB. Ooh. The monkey wrench. Harry Dude, yes. Yeah, grab a monkey wrench. Also a Foo Fighters song. Got a monkey wrench and a Vice Grip. Even though this is not a Vice Grip brand. This one is though, this little guy. I think two of my favorite pairs of Vice Grips, and these, yes, are actually Vice Grip brand, are these little miniature ones. Man, they're so handy for a lot of stuff. Robert says another ad just popped up. Paul, CNC in England, known as the aluminium screaming carving thingy. Sam says, never photocopy a pirate. That's pirate copying. Oh, yeah, don't do that. Harry Dude says, used to play Monkey Wrench in a cover band. Yeah, we played that too. It's a fun one. Especially that string at the end where the vocals just like go nonstop. And like you got to find the vocalist that can do that whole thing. without it sounding like they have to stop and take a giant breath in between. Yeah, that's a fun one to play. Sorry. Band-Aid is a term. Yes, the Band-Aid's the brand. And we just say, oh, put a Band-Aid on it. Doesn't matter the brand. Sent back in screwdriver, a Turner screw. That's funny. Oh boy. Yeah. One thing at the guitar show that was pretty cool as I had some friends from town here, from Colorado Springs, drive up to Denver to check out the show, and they came by the booth, and one of them's a bass player, and he was doing some, some slap pop stuff on the subtonic that I had up there. Sounded so cool. There's a little snippet of that in the video, and just cool being able to hear somebody do that, because that is not something that I can even remotely do. I can kind of take my thumb and go bah, 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 and I can't get the whole thing. I don't know how to do that, but it was really neat. He just sat down and started playing, this funky little groove thing, and I'm like, hold on, I got to film you for the YouTube video. And he's like, all right. But it's in there. It was pretty cool. Harry dude, Google equals internet search. Yes. Just Google it. Yeah, isn't that funny how we just kind of adopt names and stuff like that? Yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying to think of some other stuff. I know there's more. Shop vac? Would you say shop vac? I got to get a shop vac for a vacuum, like one of those indoor-outdoor type vacuums. Shop vac, I think, is the brand. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people say, oh, I got to get my DeWalt vacuum or my, rigid vacuum thing. They just say, well, grab the shop vac and clean this mess up. I think I'd count that one. What do you think? I was just looking around, and I saw my shop vac. I'm like, oh yeah, shop vac's a brand, but we call it a shop vac as a general vacuum term. Jimmer says, yep, shop vac. Sam says, try the Bacon Buddies. They're delicious as a morning breakfast. If I knew where to get one. I did not see them locally. Paul says a router. Oh yeah, I just saw that thing. The metal screaming carvy thingy. Oh, the CNC. Oh, the router. Gotcha. CNC and the router. Yeah. The metal screaming carvy thingy. Oh boy. Anyway. So let's see. What else was there? I answered Scott's question, I think. We talked about the guitar show. We talked about projects coming up. We talked about this. What else do we have? The upgrades. You guys let me know. If you want to see me fumble around and try to build this old computer into a server thing, I feel like it would be a good project. I just don't know if I can pull it off. It might catch on fire. But it might not. It might work fine. Actually, it probably will work just fine. And I'm just overthinking it. But that's what I do. Jim says crock pot. Yes. Throw it in the crock pot. Yeah, good one. Good one. Dremel. How about the Dremel? Grab the Dremel. And that's just the word for a rotary tool. Yeah. Yep. How about that? I don't know what else. I know there's more. But anyway, you guys got any last minute questions, comments, suggestions? I'm going to turn on this tracking thing again. Because, I almost pulled the microphone cable out. Yeah, so about time we're gonna get to wrapping this up. Sam says you need the bacon cooked to a semi-flexible, not the glass type bacon. I love glass type bacon. I want it to like crunch. Yeah, so Sam says thanks for the fantastic stream today. All I want to say to all of you, thank you. And to those of you that got to tune in while I was at the guitar show, even though I experienced some difficulties, I want to say thank you for tuning in. It was just really kind of cool to have that on. I could interact with you guys here and there throughout the show. Even though the audio was terrible, it was just really neat to kind of just share some of the day with you guys that I know, weren't able to be there. But yeah, it was just really cool. So thank you for tuning in from afar to spend the day, or at least part of the day, with us at the guitar show. And also thank you all for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. be on the lookout for the video coming out this weekend. It's going to be the guitar show, the guitar week, getting everything ready and all that stuff. Harry Dude says plenty of tutorials for creating servers. Was looking into it myself for a while. Right on. Rick says, gotta go. Take care, everyone. Try to be on next week. Jim says, go outside and get some cable. Yeah, I gotta see where they're at. They're probably out of sight by now, but we can go look and see if they made a mess. Yeah, Harry Dude, I think I'll give it a shot. I gotta see the hard drive tray is probably done. The adapter tray is probably done printing now. So I'm gonna have to check that out and see if that'll work and if everything lines up and if I can just load the inside of this thing with hard drives. Then we probably will. I do have a handful of different hard drives that I could use for now. None of them are super big capacity, but it would be enough to put 3 or 4 of them in there just to get everything up and running, and then we can build on it from there. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I think it'd be a good project. Rick says, take care. Sam says, be safe, everyone. Sempackin says, smash the like button. Yeah, smash that like button. Just don't break your computer, though. Robert says, stay safe and healthy, everyone. Have a great week. Harry Dude, stay well, everyone. Catch you all next week. Right on. Everybody, thank you. I appreciate all of you for taking the time to hang out here. And I'm going to get back to work now. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a good one. Get out in your shops. Build some cool stuff. You guys have a great week. And as we're coming into spring, the weather's getting better. More and more time to spend outside or in the workshop and stuff. Except Harry Dude, I know yours is going the opposite way, but I hope you have a good week too. Stay warm. You guys, thanks so much. I appreciate you. Stay safe. Stay well. We'll see you next time.